Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very serious episode for you guys that I want you guys to stick around for and bear with me. But before we get into it, please make sure you go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, this video was prompted by a lot of the things that I've been hearing and seeing in the NBA world over the last 4 or 5 days. Now, Gilbert Arenas made some news with some of the ridiculous things that he's had to say about Giannis Antetokounmpo. And when he put out his original statement, a lot of people basically said that Gilbert Arenas was totally off base, right? A lot of people, almost most people, disagree with what he had to say. He subsequently went on his on his Instagram page to put up a response by starting off with some quotes from a Kobe Bryant, Kanye West commercial. Then he explained his points, and he was trying to talk like as if he was this great thinker, and it was just basically up there quoting stats, and he didn't really understand what the hell he was talking, in my personal opinion, right? I mean, I didn't go to Harvard, but I can tell you that guy, you know, is definitely not Cornel West. Then yesterday, they asked Stephen A. Smith on ESPN First Take, and Stephen A. Smith is supposed to be the basketball guy at ESPN. And they asked him to kind of react to what Gilbert Arenas had to say about Giannis Antetokounmpo, basically saying that Giannis doesn't understand the game of basketball. He doesn't know how to be great. He doesn't know how to train. Those were his 3 major points, right? And he pointed to a range of stats to support his notion. And then when they asked Stephen A. Smith his opinion, he basically said he's indifferent. He doesn't feel any type of way about it. And then he went on to say something about Giannis Antetokounmpo can improve his, if he can improve his basketball IQ, etc., 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 which led me to my next thought, right? And this is where things get very, very serious. So I'm just going to ask you guys to bear with me and put on your seatbelt, because I got a lot that I want to say in this video, a lot that I want to get off my chest here. So please bear with me. The treatment that Giannis has been getting is not the same treatment that a lot of players that players in the past got with a similar skill set. For example, when Shaq was playing, Shaq was easily the most dominant basketball player, and is arguably the most dominant basketball player ever, with him and Wilt Chamberlain. I never once heard anybody question the IQ of Shaq. Not even one time. Skip Bayless even has Shaq, I believe, in his top 5 because of how dominant Shaquille O'Neal was. And he was dominant. No one ever questioned Shaq's intelligence or his ability to comprehend basketball, which is basketball IQ, right? No one did that. But in the case of Giannis Antetokounmpo, people are up there asking questions about, can Giannis Antetokounmpo understand the game at this guy's level, at LeBron's level, at Tim Duncan's level? And I'm trying to understand, where is all of this coming from? I've never heard Stephen A. Smith or any of these guys question the basketball IQ of Luka Doncic. I've never heard them do that. And Giannis is a better player than Luka Doncic. Certainly. I never heard them question the basketball IQ of Nikola Jokic. And Giannis, in my opinion, is better than Nikola Jokic. Some people disagree, but in my opinion, Nikola Jokic is arguably the best big man in basketball. But he's right up there. It's him, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. You can pick whoever you want. I never heard these guys get this question about their basketball IQ. I never heard LeBron James get a question about his basketball IQ. I never heard anybody question James Harden's basketball IQ. I never heard anybody question Chris Paul's basketball IQ. But when it comes to Giannis, they want to question his ability to understand the game of basketball. And basically what they're saying, folks, let me just say it in another way. Basically what they're saying is that they believe that somehow Giannis cannot understand basketball. When they question his ability to understand basketball, they're saying they don't believe he's capable of understanding basketball. And if they're saying that, my question to them and anybody who feels that way is, what exactly are you basing that off of? Where does that notion begin? What is making you guys feel like as if Giannis somehow cannot comprehend basketball? And I can't help but feel, and I'm going to say this and I bloody mean it, I can't help but feeling like they're saying this about Giannis because of his African descent. I 100% believe that. Maybe because Giannis is African, they therefore feel that, well, this guy can't really understand the game the way we do. Really, that's what I'm starting to feel. I find a lot of this to be offensive, to be quite honest with you. I find the majority of this to be offensive. Let me just dispel some myths out there, because it seems that there are a lot of people out there that are uninformed about a lot of the things that they hear and see. First of all, as y'all know, I'm a first generation African American. First generation, my mom is Sierra Leone and my dad is Nigerian, but I'm a first generation. So I understand both places. I've lived in both places. So nobody's going to come up here and start educating me about Africa. Nobody, nor the States. Nobody. Because I've experienced both. And I also lived in Europe as well. So no one's going to come here and explain to me these things, because I understand. Speaking from firsthand experience. Not something I read in a book. Not something I watched in a YouTube video about somebody that lived in the States or somebody that lived in that. Nobody's explaining. I'm speaking from firsthand experience. I want to make it clear to some people in the audience, and maybe some people that feel like as if Giannis can't understand basketball, whatever it is. I want to make it clear to these people. First of all, let me say this. There are more billionaires in Africa in business than there are in the States. There are more, let me just repeat that, and I want to explain what I mean. There are more billionaires in dollars in Africa, in the continent of Africa, than they are in the States. And I want to explain to you why that's important. Number one, the United States is a more developed country than a lot of African countries. But yet and still, you find more African billionaires in Africa doing business. That's the first thing that I wanted to say. A lot of Africans that are millionaires are making their money not on sports and entertainment. They're doing it in business and in industry, which means that they are using their brains. They're guys that are engineers, lawyers, doing all kind of complicated things that is much more complicated, I'm sorry to say, than playing basketball. So inherently, they have the capabilities to understand things, whether if it's science, whether if it's math, whether if it's religion, whether if it's politics, whether if it's engineering, whatever you want to call it, technology, and including basketball. I want to state that for the record so people understand that. That's the first thing. Secondly, Africans are very smart. They're highly educated. And also, by the way, since we're talking about music and entertainment, they're also killing it in those arenas too. Go ask why Chris Brown and P. Diddy and all of these guys are collaborating with a lot of these. You go ask why. And they're also killing it in movies, with the second biggest film industry in Hollywood in the world. In the world. I just want to say that. Let's continue on. People celebrate Grant Cardone. They celebrate him. Grant Cardone is a real estate mogul. They celebrate Grant Cardone. He's worth what, $600 million. They're guys in their 30s. Let me just pop some of you guys' bubbles. There's some guys in their 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, early 40s, doing $800 million real estate development projects as builders, as real estate developers, not real estate, somebody going to go buy a piece of property that's already built through the bank. And a lot of these guys are doing business with interest rates at 15% or 20% or higher. I'm saying all of this to say that whatever type of notion these guys are floating around that Giannis he can understand basketball. It ain't that complicated. I didn't go to school for basketball, but I can understand it. If I put my mind to it, I could even get into the X and O's of it. You don't need to be a genius to understand it. Let me just say that. It's getting quite offensive that they're saying, and I'm trying to understand, why is it that they're not questioning anybody else's IQ? Why doesn't Luka Doncic get the same questioning? Why is Nikola Jokic not going through the same line of questioning? Why is LeBron James not going through? Why is it when it comes to Giannis, they feel so comfortable to question this guy's ability to understand? What are you guys saying? What are you saying? A lot of these guys that are sit there having all of these, they've never stepped foot out of their own neighborhoods or their own states. They've never even been to the continent. And let me tell you this as well. There's more to Africa than Ghana and South Africa and Egypt. There's more to the continent than that. It is getting offensive. And I'm trying to understand why these guys feel so comfortable to do this. It makes no sense to me. We even put up a poll on our channel asking the audience, What is your definition of basketball IQ? Let me read you some of the response. Ability to know when to shoot and when not to shoot, when to drive to feed your teammates and to defend. That's one person. Another guy said, knowing the ways you can contribute on a winning effort and do exactly that and nothing more to maximize your abilities. Knowing what to do at the end and when to do it. Knowing how to play and play. So you guys are telling me that Giannis Antetokounmpo doesn't do all of these things, but these guys do. Are we joking here? So what does that say about the basketball talent pool in the NBA if Giannis is able to make make 4 all-first defensive teams, 6 all-NBA teams, win a defensive player of the year, win 2 regular seasons back-to-back, win an NBA championship and a finals MVP while averaging 29, 11, 5 or 6, 1 steal and 1 block. What does that say about the guys that have this elevated basketball? Why can't they stop him? With all of their basketball knowledge and skill, why can't they stop the guy that can't understand basketball? Then they're going to tell you is their physicality. Then why weren't we bringing up this question with Shaq? Y'all a joke, the ones that are perpetuating this stupid notion out there. He understands basketball the way everybody else does. And if we're going to question Giannis's basketball IQ, you need to question everybody's. If they're going to question Giannis's decision-making, go question LeBron's decision-making at end of games when he's making the right play. It's ridiculous. The only difference between Giannis and LeBron are super teams. You give Giannis some super teams and you'll see how many championships he wins. It is getting ridiculous. This is exactly how I feel about it. What are y'all saying, some of you guys? What do you mean? And finally, why are you so comfortable talking about this guy like this? What makes you feel so comfortable? When Stephen A. Smith wants to criticize LeBron, he'll put up that stupid, he's a father, he's a great dad, but when it comes to Giannis, everybody just opens up their you-know-what and starts talking about him. Nobody gives a damn. You got guys like Skip Bayless questioning Giannis, is he good? But you're going to sit up there and twerk it up for Kevin Durant. Because Kevin Durant is better than Giannis. Because of what? Because of what? KD can understand the game better than Giannis. How? Why? Based on what? Because he shoots a better mid-range three-point and free throw percentage. That's why? KD never even made one all-defensive team. And they talking about don't compare me to him. No, you don't compare. Don't compare him. It's ridiculous. And I just have to get this off my chest. I don't care who gets offended. It's enough. Y'all go find somebody else to play with. That's all I wanted to say. Catch you on the next episode.